Hey everyone, Sari here, and welcome back to another week of offense matches. I used Oliver for most of the matches this week. I really like him as an alternative to Kronya, who I haven't actually built yet. His built-in post-combat heal is a really powerful effect, and being able to warp to friendly herons helps a lot with positioning. The combination of steady posture and low attack speed actually make Oliver pretty speedy in combat, giving him a much better fight against most opponents. The lull is especially helpful with more visible buffs showing up on defense teams recently, and having Pulse Smoke and a guard effect also help him shut down enemy specials really effectively. I'll probably switch him to the speed defense solo once we get it from the upcoming Tempest trial, but losing the attack might hurt, so it'll take some experimentation. Raisin's build isn't anything too fancy, but I am considering Sudden Panic as an option, if I can find the fodder for it. It would give me a good excuse to try null follow-up for Oliver, since we wouldn't have to worry about visible buffs anymore. Double Tactic Reagan and a Link for Naga give Oliver access to a full set of +6 buffs. Sometimes it's useful just to use the +3s to dodge shrines, which can be a bit of a problem for this team, but it's good to have access to the full versions. And the distant close guard combo on Plumeria and Raisin gives a bit of flexibility with positioning, which is really useful. I also used Kronya for a few of the week's matches. Fatal Smoke is still a really fantastic skill for her, and just being able to ignore healing towers to focus on picking off important targets helps a lot for her. The Special Spiral Arctured Sky combo gives her a lot of extra firepower for the Vantage hits, especially with Ceres and Duma being very common this week. I kept her on 2 teams for some flexibility. Fury's Isolation is really invaluable against some teams, and Takumi's extra 10 damage and Panic can really help her crack open even some incredibly tough targets. Right, now that the introductions are done, let's get to the matches. So this is a really fun way to start the week, actually. They don't have a Ceros on their team, but they've got a lot of moving parts to this defense that make it really tricky to handle. And a lot of that comes down to the Ruse on Claude. It's Defrez Ruse. And the Ruse on this Petrine, who I really love this Petrine, she's amazing. I'm probably going to build her myself at some point, but I'm waiting for her reruns to come through. I'm not going to be maxing her out from scratch. Trying to save some grails here. They've also got a Ninian. The Odd Pulse Tie is an interesting choice for her. Leif, who is a lot less spooky without his bonus week stats. And bonus week Duma. And Mirabilis. So, what I'm planning to do here is bait them out, and there are a few ways this can go. I'm not quite sure which dancer is going to move first, so it'll be interesting to see.
I won't lose. Close your eyes.
Yes.
I'm going to wait a turn
Consider it done.
as well, just to make sure that we clear off the upheaval damage. Because in one of the scenarios I've considered, we will actually need this extra 7 health.
Yes. Let's tread carefully.
Okay, so that was the real trap.
What now?
Alright, so yeah. Okay, so Mirabilis does move in first. And then Claude should rally, and get danced. Oh, he didn't do any damage. I thought he was going to. Oh. Makes my life a little easier. Okay, So I did plan for this, and I'm hoping that I planned properly. Okay, so we can knock out Petrine here, and we're going to need to knock Duma out as well. Okay, so I think I was second-guessing myself a little too much here.
Don't you worry.
We're just going to deal with Petrine, and then deal with Duma. And I don't have to worry too much about Claude's rally, because in the position that Oliver ends up with, there's only one other unit who can attack him, and that's Leif. And Oliver doesn't care about Leif.
I'll do it.
Flawless. Here.
And also, once he's rallied once, he's going to be forced to attack, because neither of the dancers can attack Oliver from this position.
Let's tread carefully.
So, everything's going to go well. We're just treading carefully, in the words of Oliver. And a dance. And then Claude gets himself wrecked.
This is true beauty.
And Leif follows shortly after. Alright. And from here it's just about picking up the Aether pots,
Don't you
which
worry.
won't be too hard.
Flawless.
No reason not to just attack twice.
Yes. Don't you worry.
And we can even have Oliver intercept Plumeria, just to keep her locked up in that area of the map while we get to these pots.
Over here? Why not?
Let's tread carefully.
Consider it done.
What is your desire?
Yeah. I'll do it.
What now?
It will be done.
Let us go.
With utter certainty.
Flawless.
Alright. Now we just finish the match up. Move on to the next one.
I won't lose.
Yes?
Don't you worry. This is true beauty.
True beauty. This was a fun one, just for a chance to see some
It will be done.
less commonly seen units at some higher potential. So, their lead unit is this Frederick, and yeah, this is not a Frederick to be taken lightly. He hits very hard. And they've also got a Robin, who is completely maxed out with this Flora Guide. Between the Flora Guide and low attack res, he applies a lot of combat penalties to anything he fights. So even though his stat line seems a little average across the board, it's really deceptive. We've got a Camilla, Berkut for dancing, bonus week Duma, and a Thracier. This one took a little bit of thinking to set up because the way I'd like to approach this means that we need to break both this Panic Matter and the Dark Shrine before we start. And I would also like to keep as many turns open as possible to finish breaking these Aether pots afterwards. So, let's start with this. Oh, that's not the real trap. Excellent. This is also going to be fun because we really get to abuse Oliver's warp shenanigans.
What now?
Flawless.
What is your desire?
This is also the second match in a row that we've had the Volt Tower get sniped by a Duma. It's fine.
Don't you worry.
I'll do it. Over here?
Let us go.
Yeah.
Flawless.
You have my trust.
Alright,
Yes.
in we go.
What now?
Let's tread carefully.
Moment of silence for Duma.
I won't lose.
Oh, that did quite a bit. Oh, that's not the one you wanted to dance. Oh well.
This is true beauty.
This didn't quite go as the way I planned it to, but that's okay. It worked out. And even if Frederick had gotten to attack a second time, he wouldn't have been able to knock Oliver out.
Flawless. Here.
Yes?
Don't you worry.
Close your eyes.
Flawless. Ha!
And of course, part of the fun of Oliver as the main unit is that we can guarantee that Berkut will always stay alive. I'm going to wait to pick this Aether pot up just in case Robin decides to dance his way
Over here?
over to this sort of corner of
It
the
will
map.
be done.
I'm pretty sure Oliver just knocks him out this turn, though. Oh, maybe.
How frightening.
Nope. Jeez, that ice perk does so much damage. Alright. Well then. This should be pretty
Let us
easy
go.
from here.
Let's tread carefully.
What is your desire?
Why not? Yeah.
With utter certainty.
Flawless. Here.
Alright. And Oliver takes another match. Guess we'll see what we get next time. Well, this week's been pretty interesting, and this match is pretty great. At least, it'll be great, assuming I have planned this out correctly, which I think I did. So, they've set up a trap with their 7th unit, and while I don't know this ahead of time, I'm reasonably sure that Sigurd is set up to dance Edelgard from here, which increases the map's threat range, and if it activates the map, sets up a rally trap with Mia and Lysithea, which, you know, snowballs and then gets units knocked out when you're not expecting them to. And a lot of the threat honestly comes from this Mia, who, yeah, it's a +10 summer Mia. Granted, this Lysithea is no slouch either. +10 with sturdy impact, hardy bearing. They've got a Farsave Edelgard. They've got 2 duo dancers. These 2. Got Mirabilis, and they've got Ceros, who is the reason all of this works, because of the bonus slot. So, what I'm planning to do here is force Peony to dance Edelgard instead of Sigurd, and what that does is it lowers the map's actual threat range. It doesn't actually increase it by very much at all, which gives me a lot more space to work with and set up and execute. This also works well because they can't actually use a Duma on this team, which means that our Bolt Tower is completely uncontested.
Okay.
It will be done.
I'll do it. I won't lose. Let's find happiness.
So, am I right? I think I'm right. There we go. Alright, and from here we're just waiting for the Bolt Tower to activate, but we do need to make sure this is broken as well, because we're going to need this space. And even though nothing else is isolated this turn, Peony's the only one who can dance Edelgard, so it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the real trap.
Yeah.
And we are taking a hit from Edelgard here, but that's fine, because we're not planning to let Lysithea survive the turn. If we didn't actually take a hit back from Edelgard, Kronya would survive and counter-kill Lysithea, which really surprised me when I mathed it out, but I'm not gonna complain.
Close your eyes.
And with Farsave out of the picture,
Okay.
we can knock Lysithea out.
Guess you wanna die.
And setting it up like this was actually very important, because this also means that Sigurd and Mia can attack Kronya immediately. And if Lysithea was still alive here, Mia would actually rally instead, and that could cause problems for us, depending on where she moved. As is, though,
Careful.
this shouldn't be too bad at all.
With utter certainty.
Yep.
You're in my way. Guess you wanna die.
Something that happens here
You
too
fool.
is that Mia's weapon gets disabled just by the Bolt Tower, which hurts them a lot.
Guess you wanna die.
Even if I wasn't using Kronya to deal with this, it would have been very easy to knock her out on the counterattack just because she wouldn't have that 75% reduction. Let's...
Time to kill.
Oh good. Don't have to worry about
Consider
that
it
at all.
done.
Over here?
What is your desire?
I love you. Okay.
And down goes Ceros. That was a pretty clean sweep.
Just a nuisance.
Took a lot of planning though, I will admit that. Alright, we're on a roll with these. Makes me interested to see what we'll see tomorrow. Well, I guess we did have to run into a slightly less exciting match at some point.
Stay back, you!
And I say that, but this was fun just for a chance to see this Alencia. She is... Oh, this is a nice Alencia. She's so good. This team is mostly set up just to kind of take advantage of in-season legendaries as flexible, blessed units, and you just use triple mythic with that. I think it's mostly just I want to lose the lowest amount of lift possible per match, and don't particularly care if it wins or loses. It's fine, honestly, especially if you have enough offense mythics that you can just sort of cruise. There's no harm in it, especially if you're not pushing for the top rankings. Alright, so, of course, now, with all that said, this is pretty easy to exploit if, for example, you can park a unit here where Self is, which is what I'm planning to do, because then you just get to wall it everything in. And it's a bit of a problem at that
Don't
point.
you worry.
Why not?
It will be done.
I won't lose.
Yes?
You have my trust.
Over here?
So break this,
Yes.
smite Oliver up. That's a real trap.
Flawless.
Move him here. Oh, Self does quite a bit there. That's fine.
Here. How frightening.
Oliver will heal up pretty quickly, actually, once Alencia starts attacking.
I'll do it.
Consider it done.
Let us go.
Let's tread carefully.
Nice clean hit there. And even though this is going to take Oliver's solo away, it's going to make it much easier for him to deal with these dragons on the next turn. Alencia can do a chunk, but she's not going to be able to kill him.
Huh?
So, I did actually goof a little bit on the math here and forgot that this sabotage would actually hit Oliver, so he took a chunk more damage than I expected this phase. But it's fine, he still had more than enough book to deal with it, and now he can just carve his way through
Stunning.
basically
aren't I?
everything else that can threaten him.
Why not?
Flawless. Here.
What now?
And at the same time,
Let's
heal
tread
himself
carefully.
right back up.
It will be done.
Yeah.
With utter certainty.
I'm not worried about Corin. Especially since Oliver's damaged, her weapon isn't even active, so it's very hard for her to get anything done.
Yes.
Don't you worry. How frightening!
Close your eyes.
Flawless!
Let us go.
And there we go.
Let's tread carefully.
It'll be interesting to see if we get something a little more exciting tomorrow. Although this was a little closer at times than I completely expected it to be. And seeing that maxed out Alencia was fun. This is an interesting setup. I don't think it's
You.
too hard, but I will say that this bonus week Julia is a menace. I had to do a lot of thinking about how to handle her properly. Got a Saros, Eliwood, and bonus doubler always hits Julia, so she's getting quite a lot of extra stats. I've got a Mirabilis, Duma in his bonus week, and an in-season Tiki, and a Shinin who's... I think the point of this Shinin is just to try and make this Aether Fountain really difficult to get to. But... I've seen something like this once before, and it just did not really work out well for them, so... don't think it's going to work out well for them here either. This is also the first time that I'm really using a hit-and-run strategy. I haven't done this in a very long time. Mostly because a lot of defenses these days have ways to catch up really easily.
Let's tread carefully.
This one, on the other hand, doesn't. One dancer is just not really good enough, especially when... well, the only thing that will actually get in range should be the Eliwood. And if Eliwood runs all the way up here to attack Oliver, we're pretty happy with that.
Why not?
Consider it done.
This also means that we get to keep this Bolt Tower alive. Which is very useful for us. Okay, I had to take a bit to think about this because, well, this truly is very tricky for Oliver to handle, and I would like him to handle her because he can. It's just going to take a bit of managing.
What is your desire?
Don't you worry.
Let's take out the Tiki to start.
Ha!
And then Eliwood, get rid of this bonus doubler nonsense.
Let us go.
Let's tread carefully. Here.
With
And
utter
then we'll pull
certainty.
Naga back. Put
I'll
Claire
do it.
behind Oliver.
You have my trust.
Over here?
There we go. We'll take a couple of big hits from this, but Oliver can survive it. And between this iceberg
This is true
and the
beauty.
bolt tower, Julia will be very easy to clean up on the next turn. Julia's got a lot of res with Mirabilis in her bonus week stats. But it's not going to help her when she's at 1 hit point. And since we've already found the real heavy trap, we don't even have to worry about testing this one to knock Ceres out.
Close your eyes.
Flawless! This is true beauty!
What now?
Don't you worry.
And then all that's left is Shinan, who is a little annoying, but he's not going to be too hard to deal with on his own.
It will be done.
With utter certainty.
I won't lose.
What is your desire?
Consider it done.
Over here? I'll do it.
Let's tread carefully.
Yes.
Let us go.
Don't you worry.
Yep, we're fine. Especially because the steady posture means Shinan can never actually Deadeye if we're just defending. So. And then one last iceberg to finish the match. There we go.
How frightening!
It was. For a pretty basic layout, that map made me think a lot more than I expected it would. On to the next one. So, this is actually going to start a set of rematches because sadly the defense didn't hold up as well as I was hoping this week. But, hey.
Let us go.
It is nice to have a bank of rematches to look through. This was an interesting one. I had my eye on this just because of their Hector lead. They've got 2 dancers, Micaiah, and out of season Azura, who is unequipped, so is literally just there to dance without being baited. They have a Veronica, who's sort of there to break any non-Melcy disrupt tanks with this pain. They have a +10 far save Hector. Very impressive. They have a +10 Leif, the heavy blade lull. He can do a lot with this. It's very good at just breaking through things. And they've also got a +10 Alm, with a fully charged Lunar Flash on the first turn. Spiral is greedy though. I think he'd be better off with a lull here, for speed defense ideally. But, I won't complain. Just makes it easier for me. So, there are a couple of things about this that might not be a good idea if you're not very, very confident that it's going to work. This Dark Shrine usually hits Oliver, but we're going to dodge that thanks to Altina's bonus week stats and avoiding buffing Oliver's defenses. And we're also just going to have Oliver bait this Veronica. Oh, I actually have to do this.
You have my trust.
Over here? Why not?
Don't you worry.
It will be done.
With utter certainty.
Yes?
And nothing will go wrong. Pain doesn't actually do very much against Oliver because of his post-combat healing. And that already turns off Lunar Flash, so Alm doesn't even really do a whole lot. He gets one-shotted for his trouble. Hector should move forward and heal Oliver. And then Leif should come in and get himself absolutely destroyed. Oh, nope. Looks like Micaiah went forward. That's okay.
Let's tread carefully.
Huh. Well, rip Hector, I suppose. Who needs a
This
bolt
is
tower?
true beauty.
Let us go.
Flawless. Here.
This is a satisfying clear just because their clear of my defense was very messy.
You have my trust.
I won't lose.
Yes.
So it's very satisfying to come in and beat them down with Oliver.
This is true beauty.
Although, to be fair, it's always satisfying to clear a map with Oliver, so it's not like it's any different now.
Yeah.
Let's tread carefully.
What is your desire?
Close your eyes.
Don't you worry.
And it's pretty easy from here. It's an interesting defense. The merges kind of help make up for not having mythics, just because the units themselves are still very threatening.
Let's tread
But without
carefully.
those mythic bonuses, Hector's a lot easier to just knock out than he might be normally.
Here.
Alright. On to the next one. Alright, on to another rematch. This was an interesting one to see, and I hope that I've planned this out correctly because I'd like to make it a nice, clean one. This is a rescue trap with Bernadetta and Flame. It's a pretty basic rescue trap, I think, where it just drags Flora forward and then uses Bernadetta to rally, and then uses the dancers to force someone to bite Flora and Bernadetta at the same time. Duma is bonus week. It's pretty good. I think it's a little vulnerable to isolation, but well, there's only so much you can do about that. But, unless you're running on recovery, but then you kind of ruin the entire point of this trap. Alright. So I'm going to take a couple of turns to set this up. I need to test this trap to make sure that we can use that space.
It will be done.
And Kronya's health pool means that we can just test it with her and not have to worry about it actually affecting us.
Close your eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
You have my trust.
Then we spend one more turn just shuffling people around.
I love you.
Okay. Doot.
Time to kill? I won't lose. I'll do it.
Let's find happiness.
And now...
Careful, careful.
What is your desire?
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of impressive that Duma actually survives both of these, or the first hit from effective damage.
Why not? Okay. You fool.
And if I figured this properly, the first one to attack should actually be Mirabilis. So, guess we'll see.
With utter certainty.
Over here?
Hey, look at that.
You fool.
And then Peony should be the next. Yep. And this is all because
You fool.
none of them can actually hit Kronya, so they're attacking in the order of who loses the fewest hit points. And as that part is because they also all get knocked out. So.
You fool.
Alright.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Close your eyes. Time to kill?
Let's find happiness.
Yes.
Consider it done.
And second pot.
I won't
And
lose.
let's go on to the last match
Yeah,
of the week.
yeah.
Hopefully the last match.
Guess you wanna die.
Alright. So, one more rematch to close the week out, assuming I've planned this properly, and this is a really fun one to finish things with. So, and they've got Sarah's team, which is always a plus. It's fun to finish with Sarah's squad. You've got this bonus unit, Ophelia, which will immediately cause Peony to jump forward and dance. The rest of their team is a +10 bonus week Duma, a +10 far save Raphael, a +10 in season Alm, and this Julia. +10 in season and bonus week all going for it at once. That 83 attack is just that's a lot. So this is a really cleverly set up trap where what they do is it's not a forced first turn engagement, but by having Peony run up or aerobatics forward to dance Ophelia, they also enable all three of Raphael, Julia, and Alm to jump forward 3 spaces to attack if you try to just bait Ophelia, for example. And it's a lot of firepower between those 4. So, setting this one up took quite a lot of planning, because I need to test this on the first turn, and then evacuate everyone from this range that Peony would threaten, so that we don't activate the map, which will let us actually use this bolt tower. So to do that,
Over
we're
here?
going to have Reagan not use Kanto. And then Takumi breaks this mirror.
You have my
Reposition
trust.
Takumi,
It will be done.
smite him down,
Okay.
reposition Altina,
Why not?
then dance Reagan, Reagan pulls Plumeria to a safer spot, and then pulls back to a safer spot herself. Nothing else happens. Perfect. So now, we're going to open this up.
With utter
Tina can break
certainty.
this.
I won't
Reagan
lose.
moves over.
Die.
Taco moves into position. And we wait. These visible buffs from Peony's dance are actually a large part of why this is going to work at all.
I'll do it.
Time to kill?
Because this Raphael hits hard, and we can't quite one-shot him. And the only reason this actually works is because Special Fighter is disabled. Because otherwise he would be replying with a Glimmer, and that would one-shot Kronya.
Okay.
But he doesn't. And 6 hit points is enough for Kronya to work with.
I'll do it.
And since we've already found the real bolt trap, we don't actually have to
You
reposition
have
Naga
my
here,
trust.
but I'm going to anyway.
What is your desire?
And we test this trap, and it is the real trap,
Yeah.
and we delete their only hardy bearing unit.
You fool.
And thanks to Fatal Smoke, this healing tower does absolutely nothing for them.
Over here?
Which lets Kronya just one-shot everything that they have
Just a
left
nuisance.
in this corner of the map.
You're in my way.
Ceres is a little bit annoying just because she's not actually getting hit by any
You
of this,
fool.
but at the same time she also doesn't have distant counter, so Kronya can just attack her essentially for free. We're not too worried about that. Okay.
I won't lose.
Consider it done.
Okay.
I guess we could have
You're in my way.
smited Kronya for the extra 6 attack, but it's okay.
Why not? Yeah.
And there we go. That's a good way to end the week.
Just a nuisance.
I was kind of hoping to finish this with Oliver, but yeah, well. This was a better map for Kronya.
You're in my way.
I do like Fatal Smoke Kronya, she's very, very good. Alright, and we made it into tier 39, nice. Okay. This was a fun week overall. Hope you've enjoyed the matches, and good luck with your own matches, and I'll see you next time.